I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. And now it's my extreme pleasure to introduce to you our first speaker. It's going to be Mayor Kip Holden of Baton Rouge. His first term in office was marked by unprecedented growth and progress for the city parish, including earning the highest national rankings for job productivity and favorable business climate. In the midst of a global recession, Baton Rouge continues to be near the top of the national rankings for the most stable local economy, best job market, best site location for new business, and most attractive market for young adults. With a focus on public safety as a top priority for his administration, Mayor President Kip Holden presides over a team of first responders who have all achieved the highest national ranking for professionalism in their respective areas of service: Baton Rouge Police Department, Baton Rouge Fire Department, EMS, and the East Baton Rouge Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness. Much of the success of Mayor President Holden's administration can be traced to the foundation laid by a diverse team of over 100 community and business leaders, citizens, and university students he assembled immediately after his election to help develop the framework for progress, a planning document which served as the basis for his administration's goal to make Baton Rouge America's next great city. Active in the U.S. Conference of Mayors, Mayor President Holden launched a successful Healthy Baton Rouge program in partnership with the Healthy Cities Initiative to provide resources and information for improving nutrition and lifestyles for better health. Please help me in welcoming our host, Mayor President Holden.
Good afternoon to our great president and to all of you who are joining us. First order of business I need to take care of, or else a couple of guys will take me to the woodshed. But we'd like to proclaim today July 31st through August 2nd as Louisiana Municipal Association Days in celebration of its 77th annual convention. Let me tell you, we are overjoyed by being selected the host city. But the host city is that title that's there, but it's all of you who are wrapped up in the word host, because we go all across the state trying to make sure that we're addressing the needs of our constituents and taking care of the problems that we see day to day. And so as I was sitting down over there, I said, boy, as mayor of the host city, what else can I tell them? Well, if you don't spend money, you'll be mayor, I'll be mayor of the hostage city. So therefore, spend and then you get your free ticket out. But more than that, let me compliment our president and all the other hard workers. While you are asleep, while you're doing other things, they're at that legislature battling and doing everything they possibly can to allow these small towns and villages to survive. But sometimes, you know, and I've been in the legislature, but we have to appeal to the hearts of these mayors from larger towns and say, look, we know that you all want to advance, but when you take a look at where we are, I think that hand should be a two-way handshake. And come and visit our villages and towns and see what's going on. And then the last thing I would do is say this: where you can form those partnerships with each other in order to bring an industry into your area, go out and try to make that partnership work. That's very important. I'll leave you with these words from the late John Kennedy, George Bernard Shaw. Some men see things as they are and say, why? I dream things that never were and say, why not? Why not the best municipal association in the United States with this group showing others the right way to do business? God bless you.
Good evening. Now I'm starting to get a little nervous. It's getting close. 2 more nights, we'll be back. But let me tell you, before I start real quick, working with Vern through the years, and the last couple of years, acknowledged to me and showed me how North Louisiana and the rest of the state, how a small town can, what the needs they need, coming from way down south, from Grand Isle. And that bind that I made traveling with Vern, he was always saying, David, we're going to be okay. It's going to be okay. I promise you. But I can tell you, as we've traveled through the state in the last couple of years, this man always stayed with a smile. Look at every picture. He's always got a smile. And I can tell you, you look at him tonight, and he's still smiling. And I know he's in the bottom of his heart, he doesn't want to leave us. He's a good man. So let me give you a little deal here. Well, we kind of wrote something, and I want to tell you a little history about Vern. It's my distinguished honor to privilege to salute 2013-2014 LMA President, Mayor Vern Breland. With a long professional history in public service, he has served as the mayor of the town of Sterlington for the past 8 years. And 7 years of those he served as the LMA Executive Board, which I served with him. Before his role as mayor, he started his career in the public service, U.S. Navy, served 2 tours until he was honorably discharged. As the Navy, he began his 12 years career in the law enforcement and was employed by the Monroe Police Department and Union Parish Sheriff Department and Monroe City Marshal Office and Sterlington Police Department. In 2003, he was bravely enrolled in college at the age of 39 and a graduate of University of Louisiana of Monroe, December 2006. With a bachelor's degree in history, while attending college, he served as a council member and the mayor pro tem for the town of Sterlington. As first full-time mayor of Sterlington, he was elected as LMA District C vice president for 3 consecutive terms until August 11th. He has served as the second vice president in 2012, elected first vice president, and currently sits at the Northeast Louisiana Economic Alliance Board. He's a graduate of leadership in 2007, Leadership Louisiana 2008, and the Delta Leadership Institute of 2010. Our president is active in our association, and he serves at the State Water Commission, which is very important for the 10 states command of what the states tried to pass through us, as well as the Board of Directors of Risk Management, Municipal Employment Retirement System, and Louisiana's Municipal Advisory and Teleservice Bureau. This man looked like he had more degrees than a thermometer, but he's always got common sense with that smile. Ladies and gentlemen, Mayor Breland has been a vital part of association success for the past year. He's fair to say he's an outstanding leadership and all members of the association for what we are and better organized. Delegates, please rise and join me saluting our leader, the mayor of town of Sterlington and president of Louisiana Municipal Association, the Honorable Vern Breland. Let's give him a good hand.
Well, I can tell you this. It's been a long year, but it's been a gratifying year. You know, they asked me if I wanted a script to have my speech laid out, and Melissa has always told me, my counsel has always told me, throw away the script, speak from the bottom of your heart, and use the bullet points. And I have always found out that I do a lot better when I just talk to you from my heart. So today I want to talk to you a little bit about my year as your president as the LMA. I want to go back to our midwinter conference that we held. You know, I had the pleasure of being president while Tom Ed was here, and then also was through the transition with Ronnie. And Ronnie Harris is our new executive director, and I can tell you this, there have been some changes that have been made. A lot of times people don't like changes. You know, changes that put people on edge, but I can tell you this, the changes that Ronnie are making for our first midwinter were very successful. We had over 420 delegates that attended that first midwinter conference in Baton Rouge. We had a very successful Mayor's Day. And I can tell you this, out of 3 years of going to Mayor's Day, when we would go to the Capitol, you know, some of us would make the trip, parking was an issue. Ronnie came up with the idea, let's bus everybody over to the Capitol. And I can tell you this, it was a major success. We had over 200 councilmen and mayors at the state capitol on Mayor's Day. Our crawfish boil, it was a huge success. We had over 400 people who attended our crawfish boil. We had a record number of legislators attend the crawfish boil, and that's the key to the LMA. When we get our legislators there where we can talk to them one-on-one in a setting away from the Capitol, you know, we're able to tell them what our needs are. So it was a very successful Mayor's Day. And I've said this for a long time. We have a wonderful staff at the LMA. And if our staff is here, would y'all please stand up and let's recognize y'all. But even with our wonderful staff that we have at the LMA, you know, during my year, I've always preached this. The LMA is only as strong as our weakest link. We are the membership of the LMA. The mayors, the council, this is our organization. You know, I've said it 100 times because I used to hear Tom Ed tell us. when they were talking to the legislators, and they would say, I haven't heard from my mayor. I haven't heard from any of my councilmen. So it drove home the point to me, we have to make sure that our legislators, our state senators know where we stand on issues. And I can tell you this, by the end of a legislative session, my representative and senator like mayor, man, please, you're wearing us out. Quit calling me. And so I quit calling them, then I would start texting them, and finally they'd get to the point they would quit responding to me. And I'm like, look, did your phone break? If need be, I'm gonna drive to Baton Rouge so I can talk to you face to face. But those are the kind of relationships that we have to have with our senators and our representatives, because if they don't know where we stand on an issue, we can't get upset when they vote different than the way we ask them to. This year's legislative session is successful, and I want to brag about our staff. I think for the first time in the history of the LMA, we batted 1,000%. Every bill that we opposed was defeated. Every bill that we supported passed. And my hand goes out to Ronnie and our legislative staff for being over there to make sure that that happened. But I also told Ronnie, I said, what are you going to do next year? You set the bar so high this year, there's no way, you got to go down. So, but I'm praying, and I'm going to work hard and continue to work hard with our staff. It would be nice every year if we came back in here and said that 100% of what we supported passed, and 100% of what we were against and opposed, that we were able to defeat it. We have successful new programs that were launched this year at LMA. Our delinquent property tax sale program, and also a new program that's just starting is our capital outlay consulting services. And we're truly blessed that we have such a wonderful organization that we call the Louisiana Municipal Association. I had conversation with Tom Ed as Tom Ed was leaving, and I said, this is what we need to see happen, is that our state legislators, our senators, the first question they ask is, where does the LMA stand on this issue? But the only way that's going to happen is with the power of our membership. Again, I want to thank y'all for letting me serve as your president. It's been a wonderful year, but I can tell you this, and I said it during the district meetings. Come next weekend, you will see me at the lake in my motorhome, which did not crank for a full year because, I was so busy, but I would not trade anything for the experience that I've had. So again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. And I want to tell you this, as the LMA, we are a family, and we've had a crisis in our family this year. They just hit you out of nowhere. Our 4-year-old granddaughter, Kaylin, was diagnosed, had a brain tumor. So Cliff, you would key this up through the power of prayers, through the LMA and our family. I want to show you this video. It's short, brief, but it's to the point.
Thank you for praying, everybody. I love you, Pepper. I love you, Korean.
So I would like to say again, thank you. The emails, the calls, everything, it means a lot to you. We feel like we have problems, but when a little 4-year-old goes through a brain tumor, we didn't know the outcome, but our God and our Savior knew the outcome. She will walk out of the hospital on August the 5th, no scars other than the scars that she had, cancer-free, with predictions of a normal life. And from the bottom of my heart, thank y'all. Okay, we have a resolution to the Greater New Orleans, Inc. As we continue to forward our program this year, Louisiana led the fight on the national issue that had been escalating for years. As a state with a coastline along the Gulf of Mexico, we have seen the effects of many hurricanes throughout the years. This year, we as a state took a bold stand on the Biggerswater Flood Insurance Reform Act of 2012. This act was introduced to help solve a problem for the increasing cost of flooding properties in the nation. The act could have potentially caused negative effects with huge increases in flood insurance premiums on property owners throughout the state of Louisiana and the nation. Greater New Orleans Incorporated was one of the driving forces behind a nationwide coalition that successfully enacts Louisiana efforts to address the much-needed reforms to the Biggers Water Flood Insurance Reform Act of 2012. GNO is a regional economic development alliance serving in a 10-parish region of southeast Louisiana. Its mission is to serve as the catalyst for wealth creation for business development by marketing the region, improving regional business conditions through policy, workforce, and research initiatives. Through the leadership of GNO President Michael Heck and External Affairs Director Caitlin Burney, the Coalition for Sustainable Flood Insurance quickly grew to a membership representing over 250 government, business, and other organizations from 35 states across the country. Through the tireless efforts and leadership of those individuals, the Homeowner Flood Insurance Affordability Act addressed many issues of concern, and it was introduced and placed on a fast track for consideration by the United States Congress. The Homeowner Flood Insurance Affordability Act was signed into law on March 21st. We are grateful to Michael Heck, Caitlin Burney, and the entire staff of Greater New Orleans Incorporated and the Coalition for Sustainable Flood Insurance for their leadership and tireless efforts on behalf of not only the state of Louisiana, but the entire United States to secure necessary change to the Biggers Waters Act of 2012 and ensure we will have access to affordable flood insurance for the years to come. Here to accept this resolution is External Affairs Director Caitlin Burney from Greater New Orleans Incorporated.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Every year, the National Leagues of Cities invite state leagues and intergovernmental risk pools to identify executive directors, pool administrators, and staff that are eligible for the John G. Stutz Award. The National League of Cities gives the Stutz Award to any league director or staff member or league risk pool employees or administrators who have completed a total of 25 years of service with one or more state leagues. John Stutz was the first director of the American Municipal Association, the predecessor of the National Leagues of Cities. In addition, Stutz served as the executive director of Leagues of Kansas Municipalities for 35 years. NLC presents the Stutz Award not only as an ongoing tribute to a person who has instrumental in the founding of the local government association movement, but also to recognize the contributions that longtime league and risk pool administrators and employees make to the cause of strengthening local government. This year's award is presented to Risk Management Incorporated's General Manager, Jerry Cronin. If Jared give me a minute, I'd like to read what the plaque says. The John G. Stutz 25-Year League Service Award presented to E. Jerry Cronin, General Manager, Risk Management Incorporated, Louisiana Municipal Association. On behalf of the National Leagues of Cities and recognition of contributions made to the advancement of municipal government through outstanding and faithful service rendered to cities and state municipal leagues 2014. I can't think of anybody that's more deserving of this award than Jerry.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much, and I accept this for all of you because y'all have been our success. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I did start my career as a member of the Baton Rouge Metropolitan Council when a new young mayor had been elected in Baton Rouge named Tom Ed McHugh. And we had a turnover in the city council. We had basically, I think, 8 of 12 new members. And I tell people to this day that I think the most rewarding service I have enjoyed in my public life has been those years I spent on the Metro Council, because as all of you know, those of you who serve closest to the people serve best and are able to fix things and solve problems and make certain that things happen. And I remember that in every subsequent job I've had, to try and make certain that we can be as responsive as elected officials as those of you who are on the ground floor, the first level are. So thanks to you, and we appreciate everything that you do. And congratulations, Mr. Mayor, on your great service. Louisiana, land of perpetual romance. One finds a variety of resources, an equableness of climate, a tranquil, scenic beauty, and a hospitality that makes the manifold claims of her citizens as to their state's points of excellence seem a bare recital of obvious facts. Now, that's kind of a wordy way of saying that Louisianians are proud of who they are and where they live. That quote comes from the April 1930 edition of the National Geographic magazine, which devoted the entire issue to the state of Louisiana. And it described Louisiana as a land of perpetual romance. And I think that's a beautiful description of who we are as a state. And you've given me the opportunity as your Lieutenant Governor to wake up every day and think about what we can do to promote Louisiana, promote the things that we sometimes take for granted, and convince people from outside of this state to come visit our state. And I want to tell you a little bit about the tourism efforts in Louisiana and some of the reasons why I think we stand unique among the 50 states. This is the only numbers I'm going to give you, and I have to update what you've seen, because this slide was from the 2012 numbers that the mayor just recited, but I want to tell you about the 2013 numbers because they exceeded 2012. 27.3 million people visiting Louisiana, 1 million more than the previous year. They spent $10.8 billion, and they left behind $807 million in state tax revenue, an untold amount of local tax revenue that your constituents and you didn't pay, we didn't pay. The people who chose to visit Louisiana left that behind for us to use for the priorities of government: public safety, health care, education. Tourism is a big business for the state. It is not, as some people perceive it, a luxury, something we're going to spend money on only if we have a little surplus in the budget. It's the one area of government that actually pays dividends and makes money for the citizens of this state. So every chance I get, I talk about the fact that tourism is big business. 1 out of every 10 people in this state work in the hospitality industry. And I want to make sure that those numbers keep growing and growing and growing. Tourism is funded with 3/100ths of a penny of state sales tax. That's the only money that is allocated to the tourism budget. It ought to generate about $22 or $23 million a year on average. Unfortunately, because of the difficult budget challenges the state has faced, we've seen a steady erosion of the amount of money that's actually allocated to tourism. But despite the fact that we've had some fairly significant cuts, down to, at one point in the past couple of years, having only $14 million instead of the $22 that we'd like to have to spend to market out of state, we've been able to get results and convince people that they need to be spending their vacation time in Louisiana and enjoying the many things that Louisiana has to offer. LouisianaTravel.com, I just mentioned that. That's our website if you want to find out about how we promote the state to others, and also if you want to take advantage of travel opportunities inside of Louisiana, because we've got a particular place on that website called Destination Louisiana, where we're encouraging those of you from South Louisiana to visit North Louisiana, those of you from North Louisiana to visit South Louisiana and see some of the great things that our state has to offer. Those of you who live in the areas, particularly in southern Louisiana along the Gulf, and those of you who enjoy state parks in the northern part of the state, 2 million people came just to enjoy our wildlife tourism, which is defined as hunting and fishing and bird watching and alligator hunting and all the types of things that involve outdoor recreation in Louisiana. It's a major driver of what we do, and those numbers come from the Walton Family Foundation that took the time to make this study in the wake of the BP oil spill and find out whether we were suffering from the aftermath of that unfortunate event. And I'm happy to tell you that we think we've turned the corner, erased some of the misperceptions that people had about Louisiana and about Louisiana seafood. Speaking of Louisiana Seafood, the board, Louisiana Seafood Promotion and Marketing Board, was moved under the auspices of our office during the last legislative session. I didn't ask for it, and I didn't particularly want it, frankly, but the legislature felt that it was an appropriate move because they're in the marketing business and we're in the marketing business, and we've welcomed the board with open arms and tried to change some of the direction of where they're going, and that board has done an outstanding job of reprioritizing the remaining BP dollars and committing money to make certain that Louisiana Seafood is marketed as a premium product to people outside of Louisiana. And this is about a 2-minute or so video that I think really captures the spirit of why Louisiana seafood is so important to all of us in this state. It represents generally a family industry, and it represents the pride that we as Louisianians have in the products that we create.
You may think you know what seafood from Louisiana is all about, but bite into any of our 6 flavorful species, and you'll get a taste experience that has the sweetness of enjoying a beignet at sunrise, the purity of Dixieland jazz, and the excitement of the people who take pride in their craft.
Louisiana body is special to me. I mean, it's the passion.
Our fishermen know what they bring home each day is extra special because it comes from the nutrient-rich waters of Louisiana, where the freshwater minerals from the Mississippi and the Atchafalaya rivers combine with salt water from the Gulf to create one of the most fertile breeding grounds on earth. Here, the traditions are passed down from father to son.
My dad's been fishing his whole life. I want to teach my boys to be good commercial fishermen.
In Louisiana, premium seafood blossoms. Quality is part of the culture.
You can buy seafood from anywhere else in the world, but when you bite into some Louisiana Gulf shrimp, it's a totally different flavor. It's saltwater gold.
Whether it's our sweet shrimp, delicate crab, stout oysters, hearty finfish, rich crawfish, or thrilling alligator, seafood from Louisiana has a taste and texture so pure and versatile, it's limited only by the imagination. Louisiana truly is the place where flavor comes to life.
Now, I realize I'm the only thing standing between y'all and the reception and the food, and if that didn't make you hungry, I don't know what will, so I'm not going to be too much longer, but just mention a couple of the things that are under our department. The state park system, of course, throughout Louisiana, 22 magnificent state parks. They're affordable. Louisianians enjoy them, but people who come to Louisiana enjoy them as well. The Louisiana Office of Cultural Development, which handles historic tax credits and everything related to the arts in Louisiana, and put together the package that resulted in Poverty Point, Louisiana, which I describe, those of you from that area, Poverty Point, Louisiana, which I sometimes describe as a suburb of Epes, Louisiana, which is kind of a suburb of Delhi, Louisiana, which is kind of a suburb of Monroe, Louisiana. For those who are not familiar with the northeast part of the state, Poverty Point, 3,500 years ago, inhabited by Native Americans who built an incredible, sophisticated society. That site was nominated by the U.S. Secretary of the Interior to become the 22nd place in America and only the 1,001 place in the world to be designated as a World Heritage Site. And that selection was announced in Qatar last month, and we'll have a big announcement and celebration in the near future because this little sliver of land in Louisiana is now considered a World Heritage Site. The Louisiana Book Festival, sponsored by the State Library, takes place every November, early November, right here in downtown Baton Rouge. And if you're a book fan, you need to be there. Great programming, great opportunity to buy books and to hear from authors about what makes them tick and what inspires them to write. That's me on the right. That's the new Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame and Northwest Louisiana History Museum that opened last year in Natchitoches, Louisiana, which is celebrating its tricentennial this year, the oldest community west of the Mississippi River. Natchitoches, Louisiana, 300 years old, and the Sports Hall of Fame and Northwest Louisiana History Museum, which inducted Shaquille O'Neal in its class last year, is a magnificent new structure that is winning all kind of international architectural awards and contains a wonderful look at one of Louisiana's true passions, and that is sports. So if you're a sports fan, head to Natchitoches on Front Street. At the end of the street, you'll see a modern architectural design that fits very nicely with the historic setting of Front Street in Natchitoches, Louisiana. Skip through that. Music is what drives a lot of people to Louisiana. And last year we celebrated music with all of our advertising and marketing. This year we're celebrating Louisiana's unique culture, things that you find only in Louisiana. We'll be beginning an advertising campaign. We've already begun a campaign, but it'll accelerate here in the next couple of months in places outside of Louisiana to talk about all things unique in Louisiana. But music is what we celebrated last year. And any of you who are music fans, and I know most of you are, recognize how significant a contribution our state has made to the music industry. And if you doubt that, take a look at some of these native Louisianians who've made their mark on music history. Little Timmy Smith grew up in Start, Louisiana, in Richland Parish. When he was about 11 years old, he learned that his father was the great left-handed pitcher for the New York Mets, Tug McGraw. When he turned 18, he decided to take his daddy's name, and we all now know him as Mr. Faith Hill. That's correct. Tim McGraw.
When I was a little baby, my mother locked me in the cradle, and I'm computer home.
That's a guy named Huddy Leadbelly Ledbetter, who grew up the son of sharecroppers, the grandson of slaves in rural Caddo Parish near Mooringsport. He spent a good bit of his adult life as an involuntary resident of Angola, Louisiana, having been incarcerated there for numerous crimes against the state. But while he was there, he honed his musical skills. He wrote that song, Cotton Fields, reminiscent of the lives of his ancestors. He wrote the song Rock Island Line. He wrote the great lullaby, Goodnight Irene. And when he was granted a pardon by then Governor O.K. Allen, he became a great troubadour and ambassador for Louisiana, known around the world, and creating his own unique sound that is now memorialized in the Library of Congress.
You shake my nerves and you rattle my brain. Too much love drives a man insane. You broke my will, but what a thrill. Goodness gracious, great balls of fire.
Well, y'all all recognize Lawrence Welk when you hear him, right? That's not Lawrence Welk. Jerry Lee Lewis. How would you like to be growing up in Faraday, Louisiana in the late 1930s, early 1940s, and have these three first cousins roaming the streets on Saturday night? Jerry Lee Lewis, Mickey Lee Gilley, and Jimmy Lee Swaggart, all sharing the same middle name and sharing the same piano that the Lewis family bought for little Jerry Lee, and he went on to great fame and fortune. When Neil Armstrong and his fellow astronauts landed on the moon, the song that was playing that they heard from Mission Control in Houston was that song by Doug Kershaw, the Louisiana man, singing about all the things that we in Louisiana know are so important to all the state, but particularly in that southern part of the state. That's Buddy Guy from Lettsworth, Louisiana, in Poincapé Parish. He brought the blues sound that was developed and created right around this Baton Rouge area to Chicago, and it's now known as the Chicago Blues, but guys like Buddy Guy really gave it its start, and he's a wonderful Louisianian who's bought some property here in Baton Rouge and is going to be moving back home in his retirement. Before there was a Beyonce or a Miley Cyrus or all the divas of today, there was our own Britney Spears, who for a previous generation of young people was the pop star of the last decades or so, and she's making a comeback. Finally,
yes, I'm going to be in that number.
Louis Armstrong signed all of his letters, Red Beans and Ricely Yours, Satchmo. And he loved that nickname, Satchmo. His mouth was so big it was said to resemble a satchel, And Satchmo became the nickname, probably the most famous Louisianian of all, and certainly one that's identified with jazz, which calls Louisiana its birthplace, as do so many other genres of music. And people are attracted to Louisiana because they know they're going to hear great music, they're going to hear a diversity of music. And we have another website called LouisianaSoundtrack.com that'll direct people around the state to bars and juke joints and restaurants where they can hear Louisiana music, and they can plan their own itinerary to travel to some of these places. And that's proven to be very popular for people who are interested in enjoying music. That's what the Louisiana Soundtrack site looks like if you go to it. You can learn about the various genres of music that call Louisiana home. Give you an opportunity to see some of the ads that you don't often see because we're not advertising to you. The law says we can only spend 10% of our budget in state. And we probably don't spend that much, to tell you the truth, because we're targeting people outside of Louisiana to come here and spend money. So in diverse magazines across the country, particularly in food magazines and music magazines, you'll find some of our print ads that look like this, where the music never stops, and most of it started as close as we get to a boy band. That's the Roots of Music kids who are fabulous out of New Orleans. Enjoy some fresh Louisiana jam, and my favorite, No America, we will not turn that music down. Music for every taste and a taste for every music and hot sauce for your ears. You're going to now see 3 quick 30-second commercials that have been running throughout last year and the early part of this year that kind of capture our sense of appealing to people who are interested in food and music, which go together.
Come to Louisiana and pick your passion. Come to Louisiana and pick your passion. Come to Louisiana and pick your passion.
I'm real proud of our Office of Tourism. They became only the 2nd state in America to be certified by the Destination Marketing Association, which is kind of a good housekeeping seal of approval on your management practices and how you handle your finances and so on. The Office of Tourism was also named the top tourism office in Southeast America for the first time ever. So real proud of what they've been able to do. And they're focusing in the future on a couple of different things. Retirees, bringing them to Louisiana to settle in your communities, convincing them that we've got a great lifestyle in Louisiana, an affordable tax base, and a lot of things that the retiree of today is interested in, because the retiree and the 60, 65-year-old today, and I can testify to this, is much different than the 60, 65-year-old of a few years ago or a generation ago. They're more active, they want things to do, they enjoy culture, and they'll find all that in Louisiana. And the other target we've got are international travelers, because they spend more money, they stay longer, and they're more adventuresome. They don't want to just go to New Orleans and stay there. They want to explore other parts of the state, and they want to link with their cultural heritage, particularly French and Spanish travelers. So we're working to increase those numbers as well. A lot of great things going on and a lot of great things that benefit your community. We appreciate working with all of you. We have Main Street programs, as you know, in many of your communities. We have historic tax credit programs going to help revitalize your blighted areas, and we're always looking for partnerships and looking to help you with festivals and the activities that are so important to the economy of your area. So in Louisiana, we say you can pick your passion. We have many of them: music and food and recreational activity, and certainly festivals. We only have 400 of them in Louisiana. If something walks, crawls, flies, or swims, we have a festival to salute it, and then we throw it in a gumbo and eat it. And that's kind of the way we look at life. We're a great blend of cultures and religions and love of life, that joie de vivre that makes Louisiana unique. So thanks for giving me the opportunity to share that with you, and please call our office and let us know whatever we can do to be of assistance. Thanks. How important tourism is to everyone in Louisiana, and particularly to local governments. So when you talk about $807 million in state sales tax coming to Louisiana from people who don't live here, and you realize that there's also a lot of local tax being paid by those people as well, it's a huge financial impact on communities small and large across the state. And that's what I wanted to deliver to these folks, and to tell them a little bit about the successes we've enjoyed in the tourism industry.
What kind of success have you seen?
Well, record-breaking success. 2012 was a record-breaking year. 2013 broke the 2012 record. We had 27.3 million people visiting the state, spending $10.8 billion, and leaving behind $807 million in taxes, not paid by the citizens of Louisiana. So that's a profound impact on the state. That's an industry for Louisiana, a job creator.
The program that I administer at the Louisiana Department of Economic Development is called the Louisiana Development Ready Communities Award program, and it is a program to help municipalities increase their economic development and community development competitiveness and capacity. To date, we've had 31 municipalities enroll and complete the program. It's a very intensive program with the objective of developing a strategic plan which encompasses all the desires of the folks in the community, and which ultimately is adopted by the City Council as a roadmap going forward. I want to thank LMA for its partnership and support for the community development initiatives at Louisiana Economic Development. The LMA was an early partner in developing the Louisiana Development Ready Communities program, and under Executive Director Ronnie Harris, the LMA remains committed to community and economic development in Louisiana's municipalities. Thank you, Ronnie. We really appreciate you. The cities of Leesville and Minden completed their Louisiana Development Ready Communities program in 2013 last year, with their respective councils officially adopting the resulting 5-year strategic plans for their communities. They joined 29 other municipalities who have completed the program since its inception in 2009. It is my pleasure to be here today to recognize them. Before I do that, I want to give you some idea of the commitment these communities made to the LDRC process during 2013. LDRC communities engaged the public and private sectors in numerous ways in order to educate, communicate, and obtain feedback. These estimates of community participation were provided to me by the LDRC project managers in Leesville and Minden. Number of citizens involved in the process: Leesville 112, Minden 512. Number of committee meetings: Leesville 23, Minden 24. Number of community survey respondents: Leesville 604, Minden 447. Number of town hall meetings: 2 in each community. Citizen participation in those meetings: about 120 in each. Time spent by project managers on this project: Leesville 700 hours, Minden 600 hours. This is a very intense program, and we are very grateful for the effort that the public and private sectors put together to complete their communities. Representing Leesville is City Councilman Willie Mae Kennedy and others on her council. Minden is represented by Mary Thomas Davis. Thank you both for your commitment and involvement in bettering the economic development competitiveness and capacity of your communities through the LDRC program.
What kind of results have you seen from this?
we've seen really good results. I'll give you an example. One of the communities that we're going to be recognizing today is decided in their strategic plan that they needed to hire an economic development person, and they're doing it. And those kinds of things are gratifying.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having our organization, the Louisiana Campaign for Tobacco-Free Living, here with you today. This is a very beautiful crowd, and we want you to continue eating, and I'm going to be just a few minutes. We're delighted to participate for the first time with the LMA conference. So we also want to thank and say kudos to the LMA staff and the executive board, and of course the city of Baton Rouge for putting this great conference together. Please give them a round of applause, please. So, it is our mission to prevent and reduce tobacco use and exposure to secondhand smoke. We have committed to actively work with municipalities to create healthier communities. We want all Louisianian residents to have the right to breathe clean air. Our task is to make it possible and work with you step by step. And so in doing that, we have our great staff, and we are in each region. If you all would please stand. This is our staff from across the state of Louisiana. Thank you. And they're actually located in every parish, so we do have someone from each of your respective areas. So our campaign, Healthier Air for All, has really taken off. And so now, getting to the very exciting part, you'll see some table tents in front of you. And on that table tent, if you look at the back and the front, you'll see, and also the pieces that we have here on the stand, you'll see the state of Louisiana. And in creating smoke-free cities across the state, you'll see that there are some beautiful blue asterisks on there. And so these asterisks represent the cities that are currently smoke-free in Louisiana. So I want to make sure that we recognize them, and in doing so, definitely recognizing the first city of Alexandria. So if Mayor Roy and the Alexandria City Council, please stand and be recognized. Thank you. The city of Alexandria made the decision to protect the health of all workers in their community, to stand, and so they took that stand. Also, the second city does not have bars or any gaming facilities, but the community is definitely expanding. So to my smaller communities with big hearts, you can still work toward a healthier community. And so please join me in recognizing the second city to go smoke-free, and that's the town of Woodworth. Is Mayor Butler here, or the council? Anywhere here? Please stand. I don't see him because the lights are in my eyes at this point, but as I was leaving Woodworth, and I'll share this story with you, Mayor Butler told me, he said, he gave me great advice. He said, when you leave here, don't speed. He said, we're smoke-free, not speeding free ticket. So I definitely took his advice, and matter of fact, I encouraged the town of Woodworth to please put that on your sign, welcome sign. Now, there were also 3 other areas that went smoke-free at the same time, which is unheard of across the country. This has never been done before, and so we're also proud of them. And so we're actually seeing a lot of progressive activity in these communities, especially around other healthier conversations such as access to food, healthy and nutrition, and physical activity. And we also want to recognize Mayor Mayo of the City of Monroe, Mayor Norris, City of West Monroe, and Shane Smiley with the Parish of Ouachita. Would you all please stand wherever you are? We want to recognize you, and also their city council members and aldermen. Please stand if you're in the building. Please give them a round of applause. This is the first time in the country, as I said, that 3 municipalities got together and worked on this because, of course, their locations are right next to each other, and a lot of things affect what goes on in each other's place. And so also, we've had a 6th smoke-free city as of recently, the town of Cheneyville. Mayor Johnson and your alderman, would you please stand and be recognized? They're here in the front. So we want to say thanks to all of you. And so before I take my seat, if you notice, there is a number 7 with a question mark behind it. And it's on the map indicating, will you be next? And as you think about and ponder if you're ready to move to a healthier community or creating these environments, we ask that you go and talk to these municipalities who have enacted these policies. It's okay. And we also have staff here to make sure that if you're interested, that transition will be great. So our work is never easy, of course, nor is it in vain, but it's definitely rewarding to hear people email and call, and when we see them in the communities, to say how they can now enjoy the pleasures of going to places where they could not go before. We hear a lot of stories about people going to bingo halls and going to bars. Now these are places that they want to and can go to. So my charge to you, prepare yourself to be challenged, excited, and inspired. Healthier air for all. Thank you. It's been a pleasure. We have a new campaign. It's called Join the Movement for Healthier Air. And so we're asking, or we're looking at educating municipalities about the importance of healthier air in the communities. So one of the things we're focusing on, just highlighting the cities, and there are 6 cities in the state that are smoke-free, and we want to work with the other ones on how to create smoke-free cities in their areas as well. So we want to see Louisiana, which is our vision, 100% tobacco-free living.